All right, guys, let's carry on with today's presentation. Okay. Here we go. So we're in chapter 8, of course. So sorry, guys. I was being rude talking while you were talking. Go ahead, just the disrespect is just one of my pet peeves, and I don't want to disrespect y'all, so just wave at me when you're done. Thank you so much. Here we go. So, going to chapter 8, some things that we want to talk about is the formation of the public opinion. What is public opinion? Why is it so difficult to determine public opinion? How do family and education shape public opinion? And what additional factors shape public opinion? Kind of the definitions that we will look at, or questions that we will seek to answer. Number one, what is public opinion? Pretty self-explanatory there. Public opinion is described as attitudes that are held by a significant number of people, and since we are talking about government, then it is based on political matters mainly, is what we will be looking at. Public affairs is a huge part of forming public opinion. There are many places that we can get opinions from. One of the problems with gathering public opinion is that there are different publics. By different publics, I mean that there are different groups of people that have different feelings on things. For example, the NRA, the National Rifle Association. Of course, their opinion will be not to limit guns, right? So a lot of people will agree with the NRA, a lot of people will not. Agree? Well, she never made it back, so thank you. So, the fact that there are different publics and different places that people feel, different people fit into different people groups, then it's important to note that different people have different opinions. That's just common sense there, right? However, everybody falls somewhere on the political spectrum. Okay? Everyone falls somewhere on the political spectrum. The left is considered to be more liberal. The more left-wing that you are, the more liberal you tend to be. Okay? In political thinking, that is. The more change that you hope to have, the more right-wing that you are, you're considered to be more conservative. So if you fall to the right of the political spectrum, then you would normally fall into what political party? If you fall to the right of the political spectrum, you would normally fall into what political party? Republican. Usually Republican, right? So if you are more to the left, I'm so sorry. You fall into, of course, usually what political party? Mainstream political parties, I should say, because there are many that a lot of people don't even know about. Democrat, right? Dominican? Destiny, you have a checkout. People who have similar political opinions. Okay. People who have differing or similar political opinions usually fall on that political spectrum together. Is that all you need? want to say on that, Lizzie, or did you want to? Many factors of influence as far as your public opinion. Number one, family. We're referring to how we were raised. Family, you grow up together in the same household, hearing the same opinion over and over. Usually what I find out in high school is opinions are really based on what mom and dad usually say, right? Usually, no offense, but y'all don't form an opinion on your own totally. So family is a big one, and then schools. Schools, we're part of the school system every day. The curriculum that we teach, the unspoken curriculum, the unintended curriculum that we have in schools tends to shape people's public opinion just by different things. One of the things that I told you is, especially in this class, is I'm always going to try to give you a differing opinion. I usually don't give how I feel about something on the matter. I just like to give differing opinions to try to make people think. Not everybody's like that. A lot of people, a lot of times, will tell how they think, trying to get people to agree with them. However, we do hold our historical figures in very high esteem. Our founding fathers, for example. Some of them were not good guys. However, in history, you don't necessarily hear the alternative view all the time. Okay, most of them were very rich people, extremely rich for the time, who took advantage of situations, who wrote words like are endowed with their Creator with certain unalienable rights, with the pursuit of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. Put those types of things in the Declaration of Independence and We the People, and talked about how everybody was free and created equal, and yet they owned slaves. Okay? So we shape public opinion by the different things that we teach. Hopefully you are in a very positive aspect of America. Even with all of its faults, I do think that it is still one of the greatest countries ever formed. Opinion leaders tend to shape our beliefs. And again, while I say this, I'm not saying it is right or wrong, but of course, with just the passing of Martin Luther King's birthday, right? He was a leader who helped to shape or reinforce, maybe I should say, a lot of people's opinions. Helped to change people's opinions in the government. He met with government people. However, he's a very political figure who was very outspoken and tend to hopefully change people's opinions in the way they felt in civil rights. Our political leaders, Hillary Clinton is the leader of the seen leader of the Democratic Party, and Donald Trump, the seen leader of the Republican Party, right? Trying to sway your opinion on who to vote for, being a very obvious one. Different historical events tend to shape our political or public opinions. 9/11, Rosa Parks, anything from a very seemingly minor event to something huge. The bombing of Pearl Harbor, for example, the bombing of Japan, for that matter, can shape our public opinion in many different ways. While nobody actually died by Rosa Parks sitting there, still it was a huge ordeal in public sight, right? So it can shape our opinion either for or against something. One example being the riots that have gone on since Trump has been elected. In this situation, honestly, again, I told y'all on Friday, he was not my pick for president. But I don't understand breaking into somebody's place of business and stealing things, right? So it gives me a sense of what in the world's going on there, right? Civil rights and rights being taken away from people is one thing, referring to the Los Angeles riots in Watts, the Watts riots right outside of Los Angeles anyway. But the looting and stuff in this situation, I don't see it. So that would discredit some of the organizations, in my opinion, right? Different situations that you see that you don't necessarily see the sense in would discredit those organizations in your opinion. Caleb? No, go ahead, please. Actually, the day of his inauguration, there was and Saturday there were it weren't full-scale riots. However, there were places being broken into. Green? She did, and she is on her way. Thanks. So, and there were, it wasn't far-fetched, and I'm glad to know that there wasn't a certain organization behind that. But if there were an organization behind those things happening, I think it would lessen my opinion of them somewhat, right? Again, civil rights and people getting killed and stuff like that's one thing, but when the guy hasn't even been in office, my opinion on the matter is regardless of your opinion on him, he is now the president, right? And we are Americans, and we may not like him, we may not like some of the things that he's going to do, but as Americans, we do have to at least give him a shot, right? Does that make sense? You don't think so? Why not? I mean, he's promised great things, and if you were listening to the inauguration, part of my point with it was, it sounds wonderful. What, Caleb?
Most of them always promise a lot of stuff. Even Obama did. Most of the stuff that happened.
You know, I got to hand it to Obama, though. A lot of the things that he said he was going to accomplish, he actually did. Whether we agree with them or not is a different story, right? But he did accomplish a lot of things of what he said. However, we go back to campaign promises and look at those. You know, that's not something that I could really tell you about as far as campaign promises. But he did accomplish a lot of things that he said he was going to. Go ahead.
We had election. Donald Trump wasn't the electoral vote, did he?
Yes.
What's the other vote called?
Popular vote.
Oh, why isn't that just because he won the electoral vote?
We're going to talk about that when we talk about the Electoral College. Okay? It's a little bit more in-depth conversation than we have time for today, but we are going to talk about that. That's one of the things that I want to make sure you guys understand. There have been a few presidents who have won by popular vote, by electoral vote, and not by popular vote.
That's crazy.
But it's the way that the forefathers set it up, the founding fathers of the nation, the people who actually wrote the Constitution and stuff. Yep. Caleb, was your hand up? You know? Okay, awesome, sir. So those are some shaping factors or factors of influence. There's a little quiz for you. That's all right. I'll post it. Matter of fact, I'm even recording it. You get to go back and listen to this lecture if you would like.
So you recorded everything I just said?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to turn it up.
No.
Especially this part.
Why are you recording?
So I can post it for you guys, and I'll post it on Blackboard, and if y'all want to go back and study it, you can. Whoops.
You don't post it on there?
Might. See, now I think I just need to go back and listen to it and make sure.
I'm just saying, that was weird. We ain't done this before. What if somebody just...
What does the R stand for in pride?
Respect.
Ah, for real.
That ain't right though. That's a law.
You supposed to have our signature.
Before you record somebody, you gotta tell.
You look in the handbook. Look in the handbook that I can record anything at any time, video and audio.
It's not a real law.
Okay, just drop it to Caleb. We gonna never start a big old commotion.
Well,
Let's go, guys. Y'all answer those.
I'm gonna look into it.
Don't nobody care, you're not gonna get nowhere. Still gonna be right here recording. Gotta see it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Hurry, guys. Y'all are taking too long. Let's go. Let's go. Boom. There we go. There you go. Boom. So, measuring public opinion. How do we measure public opinion? What challenges are there in public opinion? Why are opinion polls the best measure of public opinion? And what are the 5 steps in the polling process? We're not going to go over all 5 of those, but most of them. Number 1, elections. One of the ways that we measure public opinion is actually have elections, right? So the majority of the people in the United States wanted, no, the majority, well, actually, I'll have to look that up. I don't remember the numbers of the election. The majority of the people do not vote, by the way. They do not. That is true. However, going back to Breage's point, though, with the popular vote, of the people who voted, most of them did vote for Hillary Clinton.
I got another question.
Hurry.
Never mind, I forgot.
Okay.
Oh, no, I didn't. Why, when they said, you know how they do, like, if you don't vote, they go towards Donald Trump? Why?
I don't know, because that doesn't make sense at all.
Man,
That was one of those opinion leaders that were trying to sway your opinion to vote for Hillary Clinton
I ain't old enough to vote for that.
if you don't like Donald Trump. I know, but that's the only reason that was said. There were all kind of Facebook messages of why Christians should vote for Donald, why Christians should vote for Hillary, why you should not waste your vote and not vote.
Well, most people feel like they vote didn't matter anyway. It's like, it's rigged.
Yeah, a lot of people do, but
like they already know who's the president.
But I mean, there's a lot of safety measures in place to help with that. But are we ever going to stop it? So one way that we can measure public opinion is by interest groups. Interest groups also help to shape our public opinion. Okay, but the membership in these different groups, we talked already about National Rifle Association, NRA, but there's all sorts of different clubs and groups and associations that lobby and go out and try to back candidates and try to sway public opinion. A lot of them by putting out horror stories. I remember in not this election cycle, but the last election cycle, there 3 o'clock in the morning, you get a call. Who do you want answering your call? When Obama was first running, it was Hillary Clinton and Obama running against each other. And they put out a commercial. The phone rings at 3 o'clock in the morning. Who would you want answering your call? It's scare tactics and stuff that they use.
Too, showing how he was all the bad stuff he did.
Yeah, I mean they always do. When John Kerry was running against Obama, one of the things that John Kerry put out there, he not John Kerry, but running against no, not McCain. McCain, John Kerry.
First election or second?
Huh?
The re-election or the first election?
The first election, when John Kerry was running for president against actually the re-election. I'm sorry, against George W. Bush. Yeah, did I say somebody already? Yeah, I was trying to get my thoughts together. John Kerry running against George W. Bush. This group, this veteran group that was a part of, they were talking about how big of a war hero that John Kerry was. Well, then this veteran group got together and decided that he wasn't, so they tried to smear John Kerry's name throughout. So all kind of interest groups swaying our opinion and backing different candidates and things like that. But we can use these interest groups as a way of measuring public opinion as well.
What's gonna happen if two people run for president and they both get the same amount of votes? Just why they got to do it.
Well, that's one reason for the Electoral College. However, there is a deciding factor, and I can't remember what it is right now, but we'll get to it. When we talk about Electoral College, ask that again. Exactly. Okay. So here we go. Media is also a way of swaying public opinion and using them to measure public opinion. We use them a lot to measure public opinion. They're always putting out polls and things like that. They're often referred to as a mirror of public opinion, but they're also a molder of public opinion, right? If all we do is watch a news channel that bashes one particular candidate, then we're typically going to believe that particular news station, right? Does that make sense? And we normally watch the news channel that we tend to agree with most. News channels are not just news channels anymore. They are definitely opinion pieces as well. Another way that we measure public opinion, especially for those that are already in offices, are simply by contacting them, sending them an email, phone calls, and public meetings, right? We always want to voice our opinion. Well, there are different ways of doing that. Contacting the people in charge is one way. Okay? Here we go. What do you go over that? Sorry. Let's see. I'll go back. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, that's right. It's not. Okay. So a straw vote is a method of polling that seeks to read public's mind simply by just putting out a random question. Okay. Whenever the media says, go to our website and answer this poll or tweet whatever, if you like, it's just simply counting the yeses and counting the nos. When you vote on America's Next Idol, right, even though it hadn't been on TV, or America's, another talent show, Dancing with the Stars or whatever, and you just have to call in, that's a straw vote, right? They can do that by sending out mass calls to your phones and saying, if you would like to see such and such, press 1. If you would like to hear him talk about such, press 2, right? So that's one way of measuring public opinion. And straw is just simply, they call it straw votes because what they used to do is literally in meetings, they used to hand out different straws. And they'd say, okay, here's the yes box, here's the no box, go put your straw in whatever, right? Then they went to writing yes or no on sheets of paper. So just different forms like that. So it's literally counting, there's a yes for something, there's a no for something, or there's a, does that make sense? You have two different options and they just simply count them. Do what?
It's the same question.
Not always the same question, right? It could be several different questions. Yes or no. And it's not only yes or no. It's would you like to have pizza today or would you like to have buffalo wings today? And let's raise your hand. That's a type of straw vote, right? So if we're looking for a majority in that, then it's a very highly unreliable test because let's just say, all right, what are we going to do for Pascagoula High School? And I just ask a question and we decide based on this classroom, is that a very good representation of the entire body?
No.
Right? It's less than 10% in this room, much less than 10%. So we can't make a decision based on the entire school body by just those of you in this classroom, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
So it's very unreliable. If I didn't go over straw vote, I'll probably skip this section as well. Talking about the universe. Whenever we talk about the polling universe, then that's simply who we polled. Okay? Who we polled. So you guys would be in that situation, the polling universe. Make sense? Okay?
Yes, sir.
And then what I would want to do, universe describes everybody that actually was polled, and then I would want to break it down by male and female and black and white and Hispanic, and to try to get, okay, African Americans are going to vote this way. Since we're talking about government, Hispanics are going to vote this way. South Asians are going to vote this way. I got you, Neil. I got you. Southeast Asians are going to vote this way, right? So to make sure everybody's represented, blue-eyed people are going to vote this way, right? So there's the idea of that. And then they have to be valid questions. In other words, simply put, the questions have got to make sense, right? Questions have got to make sense. One of the things that I absolutely love doing around election time, I wish they would keep this site open at other times, especially when I'm teaching government or U.S. history, is isidewith.com. Some of you other teachers may have used it as well, but you go to isidewith.com and you answer questions about how you feel, like how do you feel about abortion, how do you feel about guns, how do you feel about different things with crime. And instead of saying, would you vote for Trump or Clinton, it asked you those sorts of questions, and then it told you based on your answers there who you line up with the best based on the position. Does that make sense? I really like that because in that way it takes out all the popularity contest with it. Well, Mom and Daddy said, these are the best people. Uncle Jack said, this is what's right. He's the leader of kind of the family at family reunions and cooks the best dish. I don't know. You know what I mean? So just those type things it takes it out of, and you vote on the issues instead of anything else. That should have covered everything. Did y'all have to start over with the answers right then when I went back? I didn't think so. Just wanted to make sure. Almost done here, guys. Just got a few more slides. Matter of fact, I'm going to go on because of time's sake here. We're going to end it. Okay, so there we go. So the mass media, right? Number one, what are types of the different types of media that we use? Of course, we have television, news station. We have the internet, radio, magazines, newspapers. All of these are media forms. Media and politics, it seems like regardless of who you're listening to, there is a public agenda. The media plays a very large part in picking the public agenda, helping the public agenda. Not that they're looking for the public agenda, but the public agenda is to help decide what policies will be in place. Okay? The media is not supposed to tell people what to think and how to think, right? They're supposed to report the news and not opinion. They're not supposed to tell people how to think or how to vote for that matter. Today, television has got a huge opportunity. One of the things about it, though, I don't remember if it was this class or in world history class, we talked about it the other day, is up until the internet, newspapers were our main source of news, believe it or not. Now internet is way overtaking it, and newspapers are going out of business. We've seen a decline with the invention of television, but never a decline like we have with the internet. The advantage to television and internet is with both of them, you get to see. It's an audio, visual type thing instead of just a visual or just an audible, right? And then with the internet, you can access it at any time. You don't have to wait for just the 5 or 6 o'clock news. They use these mediums for their advantage. It's always about them, right? Never really about anybody else. Newscasts featuring candidates are usually short, sharply focused, and snappy reports can be aired in just a short amount of time. However, there are limits on media influence. Only a small part of the public actually take place. And usually this small part of the public are the only voters, by the way. Many media sources mostly skim the news. It's only the headline, CNN headline news, right? A lot of your radio talk show hosts and things like that really get into the in-depth part of the news, but their limit there is it's usually filled with opinion instead of just straight news, right? So that could be a problem. In-depth coverage of public affairs is available to those who only want to seek it out, have to hunt for it. In other words, we get the headlines, but we don't get much from it. You see, I'm nice enough to get to remember to see it twice. Once there, now here. Once I was going through it, now you got to hear it. See? Don't make me out to be this mean guy. I know that. Janine? Answer the questions. You did? Okay, sorry. I just haven't seen you look at it.
I'm not sure.
Mark and stuff.
I'm not sure about those two. Some of those are like, the second question.
I don't remember which questions I put on
It was which is the most accessible. I don't know because not everybody has television.
Still, television is still the most accessible. All right.
I got 100% incorrect.
Okay, guys, put up your computers.
These actually
Sometimes they will be, but I'll tell you.
you just want to make sure.
Actually, it's still televisions. There are more televisions per capita than anything. Huh? I did? Whoops. It's television. It's television. Televisions are the most accessible. Yeah. They won't be.
Oh, right.
I wrote my name on my paper. I would write down.
You better ride that message fly. You got a room in here?
Oh, you trying to run me a week?
Yeah. It might get no room for you. Was we good today, Mr. Green?
Better. Definitely better.
Stay by the
Yeah, I did.